Hey guys, 6-3 here, and today we're starting off in N10 at the first Uncharted island, and if you've ever stumbled upon any of these before, searching the islands themselves isn't very exciting. They have your average amount of skeletons, campfires, and wooden structures, but don't leave just yet, because they have more secrets hidden below the sea. This one is made up of 3 small islands with an opening on one side, and in the middle there is a sunken ship with the very tip sticking out of the water enough for you to stand on. After locating the spot, go ahead and swim down and you'll see the ship has broken in half. Continue swimming where the boat touches the ocean floor, and you can swim past some of the vegetation, and you'll see a small pocket down there with a passage to swim through on one side. You may want to load up on bananas before attempting the full swim, just in case you get turned around down there and can't find your way out. After swimming down the passage, look up and you will be at the bottom of a tall cylindrical room with a place at the top for you to come up. As you can see, there are torches on the wall here, so this location was not made in error, but was meant to be off the beaten path until something later in the game directs you here via map or clue. While these caves may not be full of treasure right now, it's fun to explore them and will be good to be familiar with them before needing to find them on a voyage. There's an open treasure chest, some pottery, a few barrels with supplies, the steering wheel of a ship got dragged all the way down here, and in the crates there are lots of books which you can't interact with, unfortunately. But if you jump on top of the books in the back against the wall, your game will bug out. Now, when leaving here, there is only one way to leave the final room, and on your way there, sometimes in the shallow water, the game will let you see a little further than you should. But when you get back to the water, when you swim down into the tall cylindrical cave, you can either swim all the way down to the bottom and go back the way you came, or about halfway down on the opposite side of the room from which you came, there is another tunnel which will lead you out as well. Now remember that you have a full 45 seconds to hold your breath, so you should make it if you know where you're going, but it does feel like forever when you're underwater and the pressure's on. The longer you're in the water, the more likely a shark is to normally appear, but I have yet to see one near any of the underwater tunnels, so hopefully that isn't a concern. Both entrances to the underwater cave are roughly the same distance to swim to, and will bring you out near the sunken ship between the 3 starting islands. Next up, in L14, there are 2 uncharted islands next to each other, and again, nothing special on the islands. To the south of those islands though, in roughly K15, L15, swim down and you should see a lot of kelp and underwater tree looking vegetation, and within that there are lots of ancient Aztec looking structures. Many of the pedestal structures which can be found underwater in other locations, but one structure near the intact gateway almost looks like the YouTube play button, and this structure has not shown up in other places that I've looked. This looks as though you would put an item inside the triangle which would activate something else, so remember this one for the future as the game continues to expand and new content is released. Now, nearby at the same location, you'll find a large underwater crevice, and at the end there's a small pocket you can swim down into, and with the help of a little light, you can see the remains of a large sea creature. This is probably just for looks, but I would love for them to add more threats on the open ocean to break up sailing in between nearby islands. There may be more secrets down in the crevice, but by the time you swim all the way down there, you don't have a lot of time before you would need to start swimming up before you take damage, so make sure you bring your best bananas. Lastly, at S16, there is one small uncharted island with just a few trees, but do not be deceived. Off the eastern side of the island, swim underwater and you will see one of the ancient gateways, similar to the last location, only this one really is acting as a gateway, since behind it is a tunnel for you to swim through. This tunnel is a little long, so make sure you have air before you make the trip, and there's only one way to go without much else to look at in the tunnel itself, so don't get too distracted yet. Swim up at the end and you'll be in a cave only accessible from the one way you came in. You'll notice one altar in the middle of the room, but it really doesn't look any different than any of the others you can find underwater, so maybe you'll be able to interact with any of them in the future. Some of the rocks on the wall almost look like they could be doorways with their shape and size, so I can't wait for these locations to really be implemented into the game. The biggest problem I can see with these locations is you not only completely lose sight of your boat and surroundings, but if you do leave someone on the boat, it would take significant time to get back, and that could be a problem for smaller crews. Thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the video, and let me know what secret locations you found, as I'm sure there are others out there.